Hello, and welcome everybody back to the Talk webinar program. I'm Emma from the Small Business Saturday team, and today we have the lovely Fiona Minette joining us to talk all about how you can navigate the media content cycle to achieve the best possible PR results for your business. Fiona is the founder of Boss Your PR and an award-winning coach and expert in helping entrepreneurs to grow their business through PR. So I know that she's going to have some excellent advice for you all today. Do get involved in the chat, say hello, let us know where you're from. We love to hear from you. If you have got some questions, pop them in the Q&A box at the bottom and we will come back to those at the end. This session will be recorded, so if you miss anything, don't worry, you'll be able to catch up in your own time. If you'd also like to turn on captions, you can do so at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. I also want to say a big thank you to BT for partnering with us once again on this program and making it possible. I think that's probably enough from me, Fiona. So I will hand over to you now and I will see you at the end for some questions.
Thank you so much, Emma. Yeah, I am so excited. I'm hoping that I can give you lots of value and that I can condense it into 45 minutes so that we've got plenty of time for questions. So thank you for getting involved in the chat. This is super to see where everyone is. Cold Cornwall, we've got Essex, Lincolnshire, Anglesey, Hampshire, amazing. So yes, so keep introducing yourself in the chat, keep those questions coming in. If there's anything that I can kind of weave into the session, I will. Equally, I will tackle any questions left at the end. So welcome. Seasonal PR, Christmas and beyond. There is still plenty that you can do with your PR and kind of in terms of getting yourself visible as we get closer to Christmas. I know it's a busy period for everyone, whether you are B2B, B2C, product, service, but there's always things that you can start tapping into. But what I want to do in this session is to give you a bit of an overview in terms of how the kind of media works, how that content cycle works, how you can tap into it for Christmas, but also I want to give you these lessons that you can then carry on applying throughout the year, so you can start to get a little bit ahead in terms of forward planning and kind of starting to think about what the next year might look like for you, as well as making the most of the now. So love it. Surrey, New Forest, York, amazing, brilliant, super stuff. So what we're going to cover in this session, what you'll learn is you will learn how the media content cycle works. You'll get an insight into how it operates. You'll learn how to align your PR efforts with key seasonal trends to maximize visibility. The idea is if you understand what the media are working on, you can deliver those solutions. You can deliver exactly what they are looking for, and that makes your chances of being effective increase exponentially. We will look at how you can develop effective PR approaches. So I will give you those practical techniques to create compelling pitches that resonate with the media, again, specifically tailored to the festive season, but you can apply them beyond this period. And we'll look at how to apply some savvy DIY PR tactics. So simple do-it-yourself tactics that can be implemented, as I said, by both product and service businesses to generate positive media coverage and generally increase brand awareness. So we've got Ipswich, Ashstead, love it, brilliant, super stuff. So as I said, fire any questions through on the chat, use the Q&A, whatever you'd prefer, and we'll get to as many of those as possible. So who am I? Emma did introduce me at the beginning, but just a bit of the old intro from me. I'm Fiona Minette. I'm an award-winning PR expert and educator, founder of Boss Your PR, and I absolutely love working with scaling entrepreneurs that are ready to unlock the power of PR and visibility. And blimey, PR is powerful, and it's a really exciting space to work in. It's quite a magical entity, I think, PR. So I've been in PR for about 15 years. I spent 6 years running my own PR agency, and I now train and coach entrepreneurs in taking a more DIY approach, making the most of savvy, cost-effective PR techniques. My ethos is that you are the best person to do your PR and I'm the best person to teach you. And I truly believe that there is no one better to do your own PR than you. Who knows your business inside and out? It's you. Who knows your expertise inside and out? It's you. Okay, so my job is to give you the tools and techniques in order to then communicate that with your audience. So I work with BBC Studios, Domestica, Enterprise Nation, Help Bank, and Small Business Saturday, Small Business Britain, and many more. So that's me in a nutshell. I like to talk, by the way. You will get this. You will get this vibe from me. So I'm going to, as I said, pack as much as I can into this session for you. So the media content cycle. Okay. So actually, let me know in the chat if any of you have dabbled with doing your own PR. If any of you have kind of tried to approach the media, maybe you've had some PR results. Maybe you've had some wins. Maybe you've worked with a PR agency. Let me know in the chat what your experience has been. So let's give you a bit of context. The starting point for understanding the media cycle is to understand lead times. Okay, so I want to look at what they are and why they are so important. Understanding lead times is really, really crucial to creating good working relationships with the media. So we need to know what page they're on at any given time in terms of what content they are looking for, what issues they're on, what kind of season they're working within. So a lead time is the amount of time between a journalist starting work on a feature or content and it being published. Okay, so during this time, the content goes through editing, layouts, fact checking if required, but it's a window of opportunity where kind of the editorial team are putting together a magazine issue or are creating content for online. So just looking at the chat, so there's a few of you that have tried to do a bit of PR, not necessarily worked that well for you in terms of success rate. Can be overwhelming. I agree and appreciate that. Caroline, huge amount of media coverage when set up, but weren't really ready for it. Yeah, okay. One article with a freelance journalist and stylist online. It was through a friend, so just luck, really, Katie. We do not underplay. This is amazing. Any kind of result, however it comes, is glorious. We celebrate it. It's a win. Tick. Good stuff. So back to lead times then. Keep the chat going. This is how it breaks down. So typically, we would, industry wise, we'd break it into long and short lead. Okay, I've kind of gone a little bit more specific with this. So let's look at this. Long lead, monthly, national monthly magazines. They typically work 3 to 6 months in advance. And I will break it down so that you can see this in play for a Christmas seasonal push. So I'll put it into context in a moment. Medium lead regional monthly magazines. Okay, so again, monthly, but they work on a shorter lead time than the national. So this might be about 2 or 3 months ahead of time. And then you've got short lead, which is your typical weekly magazines. So weekly magazines like Best, Women's Weekly, etc. Plus supplements. So like You with the Mail on Sunday, Fabulous with the Sun, Stella, Style, etc. They will work anywhere from 2 to 12 weeks in advance. So we're starting to see how this kind of breaks down. And then you've got what I call immediate lead. So online and sort of daily newspapers. This can be hours or this can be a number of weeks. So depending on the kind of urgency of it, the sort of timely nature of the content, you know, I've had clients that have had a call with a journalist to do an interview, and within 2 hours it's been posted online, versus, you know, content maybe kind of sitting for a few months because it's not necessarily potent in terms of being very timely, but it will go online when there is that capacity to do so. Jordan says, haven't done any PR, but do have a press release as part of my journey with the King's Trust. Super. Any kind of assets you've got is great. We can absolutely work with those. So this is how the kind of lead time concept pans out for Christmas. And don't panic, okay? I'm saying, yes, we start Christmas in May, June, but there's still plenty of opportunity, okay? And this is something that you can apply for next year when you know the how that I'm going to share with you later on in the session. So this is how we are able to plan for Christmas and to encompass every lead time from long to immediate. Okay, so May, June, we start prepping. We get our high-res product imagery, we get our high-res cutouts, we get our headshots, we get anything that we need to be sending to press ready in May, June. Okay, so we get our pitch emails ready, press releases, all the good stuff. And then July is when we start sending this pitch, this content, these suggestions to long lead, to our monthly national magazines like Harper's, Tatler, Ideal Home, LDEC, Vogue, Elle, etc. Okay. August, we carry on with the long leads. So the long leads will be working on this Christmas content through until the end of September, possibly early October. I've worked on Elle's Christmas gift guide into early October before, but typically that kind of July, August, September is your window. So into September, you can carry on following up on long lead, but then you can start to send to the medium lead. Okay, you can start to introduce these next stages of the media cycle. So start to send to medium and start on short lead as well. You can start circulating it. It might be that the timing isn't quite right for short leads, but better to get in there early and for journalists to be aware of you and for your name to start, being in their psyche a little bit. And then you can carry on and follow up and push kind of through October when they're really, really busy on it. So start with your medium and start on short. And then October, by October, most of the long lead is done. So you're following up on your medium lead and you're continuing to focus on short lead. And you're going to start on immediate. Flows gorgeous. And then November, follow up on short lead, continue on immediate lead, and then immediate lead will run right through December. Okay, so you will get these kind of last minute Christmas gift guides being put together. There might be expert content around, how to be more mindful at Christmas, or it could be, last minute tips for generating sales in the week before Christmas, or anything. Okay, and I will always issue this challenge, and we'll get into kind of what kind of content you can be sharing in terms of these seasonal hooks. But if you are unsure as to what your pre-Christmas hook will be for the media, ask me the question. Okay, email me, DM me on Instagram, say what is my angle, and I will find one for you. Okay, so there are opportunities on this lead time scale, if you like, right from May through to December. So obviously we're in November, end of November, coming into December. So there is still opportunity presenting. Most of it will be online. And there's still a lot for the picking. So forward planning, if we can kind of use that lead time cycle, we can start to think about what next year might look like, for example. So you can think about what your year ahead is going to look like. Have you got natural markers or milestones in your year ahead? But also, and here is the crucial point that will help you in the next couple of weeks, the media is not reinventing the wheel. Okay, the media is great. I love it. There's a reason why I work in PR, but they are not doing anything new. And we will find the same content on cycle, on loop. Okay, the media is very predictable and we can use that to our advantage. Yes, we can bring something fresh, but we can understand what they like to write about, what they like to feature, in order to then find those pathways in. So Elizabeth says, what are good PR things to do if we don't use magazines and or newspapers? So in terms, Elizabeth, potentially of other PR avenues to try, there's loads. You can look at collaborations, maybe get out and be networking, maybe look at speaking opportunities, maybe look at guesting on podcasts to share your story or promote your business or your product or your service. I call it the PR pick and mix. Okay, so there's lots of things in and around the PR pick and mix that could be a fit for you if magazines or newspapers don't feel quite right. I would say though, always, if you are feeling where do I go in terms of magazines, newspapers, what titles are right for me or my audience, is put it out there on your Instagram or to your mailing list and ask your presumably ideal clients what they read. What newspapers do you read, what magazines do you read, what influencers do you follow, where do you get your inspiration, your content, your kind of resources, and throw that out there and use that as a bit of data in terms of working out kind of where you might sit in the media. So once you're engaging with the concept of lead times, you can start to plan your seasonal PR, okay? And remember, like I said, the media is not reinventing the wheel. So if you can tie your content and pitches into seasonal hooks, you're more likely to be tapping into topics that the journalists are working on, okay? And if you can deliver up something that supports what they're working on, great, you are exponentially increasing your chances. So some examples of seasonal hooks. So we've got New Year coming up, okay? So you might find that some of the short lead weekly media are still working on their New Year content. So actually, you've got the online opportunity in that sense, but you've also potentially got short lead weekly opportunity with New Year, and then Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, etc. So all of these things work on that same timeline as the Christmas example. Okay, so Mother's Day works 6 months back, and then you've got your 3 month window for long lead, and then you can move into medium, and then you can move into short, and then you can move into immediate. Okay, so once you know that framework, you can apply it. So you can see here how these seasonal hooks translate into coverage opportunities. So Christmas gift guides, Valentine's Day gift guides, Mother's Day gift guides, Easter themed content, New Year, New You. I mean, Vogue, I put a bicycle company in Vogue for a New Year, New You angle about cycling to work, being a New Year's resolution that you can, incorporate into your life. So there are these seasonal hooks, and every year there'll be New Year, New You. There'll be Valentine's Day content, there'll be Mother's Day content, etc. Okay. And you can kind of look back on previous issues to see how this manifests. But then, kind of moving on from that, we've got other seasonal hooks like kind of styling themes. So if you are a product business, maybe some of these categories, and this isn't exhaustive, but this is just a flavor. Maybe some of these categories could kind of provide opportunity for you. So florals and pastels for spring, groundbreaking. Devil Wears Prada reference there. But, we see this again and again. Summer, bright colour pops, coastal themed. Autumn, then we go into woodland and rustic, and then winter we're in luxe, rich texture, decadence, indulgence, and kind of in all things, indulgence in interiors, decadence in fashion, golds, sumptuous gem tones, jewels, and all that kind of stuff. But also food, we want comfort food, we want rich, indulgent food coming into winter. So you can see these themes apply across the spectrum, especially in the kind of consumer space, okay, if you are B2C. So we can see how these align and come through in the media on repeat. And then they've, kind of beyond that, you've got additional seasonal hooks like January blues, the motivation slump coming out of January and into February, summer holiday chaos, September refresh is September, the kind of, the alternate new year, summer body fitness, winter skiing, outdoor entertaining, cozy winter styling, etc. And these all work again in the consumer space, but there are seasonal elements in the B2B world as well. But these all work for product and service businesses. So, summer holiday solutions, product businesses. But equally, summer holiday chaos, how do you cope with your kids running around, or, how do you cope with the overwhelm in summer, or, anxiety around going on summer holidays? September refresh, how do you motivate yourself for a September refresh? How do you combat January blues? How do you set resolutions? There's a lot of space for expert input from from experts, from service providers, but also there's a lot of space for product as well. So we can start to see the patterns, right? And there are ways to kind of do that research in terms of how you find the patterns, and I'll introduce a couple of methods in a moment. But ultimately, once you get to grips with how predictable the media cycle is, it becomes a lot easier to do your planning, and it becomes a lot easier to be more effective with your pitching. So for those of you that have maybe kind of sent a few emails out to the media in the past, I'm just sort of throwing this out there, did you have a topical hook? Was it seasonal? Were you able to make it timely, or were you able to kind of make it possibly relevant for the media, for the journalists that you're reaching out to? Sarah says, I've got so many ideas now. Love it. This is brilliant. Sarah, this is exactly it. Okay. I want to give you the ideas. I want to give you the confidence to know that you do not have to introduce something groundbreaking to the media, because the media isn't groundbreaking. You just introduce your way of doing it, or your product, or what makes your service or expertise unique and special. Okay, so hopefully this is giving you a really nice grounding in how it works. So VI interview with Best is coming out on International Day of Disabled People, as I'm a disabled author writing inclusive books, among other things. Amazing. And what a beautiful example of kind of this concept of awareness days and how it can play into the media. So if there are any awareness days, and again, this is something that you can factor into your forward planning. Yes, not every awareness day makes for a great media hook, but the short lead and immediate media love an awareness day. They love a hook like that. So whether it's, osteoporosis awareness day, or English Wine Week, or International Day of Disabled People, or anything around perhaps LGBTQ plus awareness, or whatever it is, there is an awareness day for kind of anything and everything. And if it is a hook that is relevant to your business, why not give it a go? Why not align your pitch? And this could be B2B as well as B2C. Align your pitch with that angle, with that approach. International Friendship Day, there's so many. There's so many. It's all good stuff. So let's get a little bit into the how to. We're hopefully building a bit of a grounding in terms of an understanding of how the media works. So that's one piece of the puzzle. Let's have a look at the other piece of the puzzle, which is how does it work? How can we tap into that? What do we send them ultimately? So I'm breaking it down into proactive and reactive. Okay. So I want to give you some pointers when it comes to being proactive ahead of Christmas, so in these next few weeks, but also throughout the year. Okay, what do you need? Finding contacts, crucial part of the how to of PR. Okay, so some options here for finding contacts. These are all paid for. So if you're kind of really wanting to get serious about your PR, then you might explore a database, Response Source, PR Max, Diary Directory, Cision, etc. There's all sorts of options. But we can be savvy about it. We can save a bit of money, okay? We can use magazines, we can use our online platforms, and we can use social media, okay? So we can get a little bit tricksy. Now, what I want you to do, first up, before we even get to who, what are the names? Who am I pitching to and finding those specifics? I would love you to just get familiar with the titles, not tiles, with the titles that will work for you online and offline. Okay. And this is where I bring back that reference where I said you can just ask your audience. Ask, put a question box on stories, or put a poll on stories, or send out a little quick survey to your mailing list and ask your ideal clients, your target audience, what are they reading? Okay, what magazines do you read? What papers do you read? What would you go for? What would you gravitate towards? Would it be a Red? Would it be a Stylist? Would it be Woman and Home? Would it be Forbes? Would it be Real Business? Okay, so build the picture, get that data. If you are your own ideal client, then where would you go, right? That's an equally valid starting point. And then with Christmas specifically in mind, we want to find out who wrote the festive content and gift guides last year. Now, to do that, a really great tool is an app or web platform like Readly, so Readly. And this will give you access to hundreds, thousands of back issues. Okay, so you could go onto Readly and read the December issue of Red Magazine or Stylist or Woman and Home or Entrepreneur.com, whatever it is. You can go on there and you can read the back issues. Okay, so have a look at the themes that they did for their Christmas gift guide. Was it for the woman who has everything, for the man who's hard to buy for, or how did they structure it? Was it price kind of grouped? Was it hobby grouped, interest grouped? Was it recipient grouped? So we can build a picture, but also we can build a picture of the broader content. So whether it's expert content, what are the articles that they were writing, what kind of value are they sharing with their audience in that period? Okay, so we can read back issues, we can look at online archives, we can see who was creating that content, and we can start to get some names of journalists. And like Sarah was saying, like there's loads of ideas here. We can start to again get some more ideas for that content. Okay, what are we going to pitch? How are we going to pitch it? So if we are wanting to kind of source information from magazines, there will quite often be a contributors page. where it will have names, titles, departments, and things are listed. There will be typically a general phone number for editorial inquiries. What you will probably find is some kind of address on there that gives you the format. Okay, so it might be first name dot surname at hearst.co.uk. And what you can then do is say, right, I want to reach out to Frankie Hill, frankie.hill at hearst.co.uk. Okay, so what we're doing is we're kind of looking for that structure. We can then search these people on social media. Okay, so we use the magazine as a base. We can then jump onto social media and we can see if we can track them down. A little bit of light stalking never hurt anyone. Okay, so we'll get to the social media part in a minute. Online, again, very similar process. So the names will be listed on the articles. So if you come across a Christmas gift guide or a lovely kind of feature where there's sort of expertise that you feel aligned with, that you know, actually, well, if she's doing something like that again this year, maybe I can tap in and I can offer my expertise, I can offer my content, my input. Okay, so names will be listed on the articles. These names will usually be clickable, so you'll be able to then see that writer's kind of portfolio for that platform. So you get an even better sense of who they are and what kind of content they write, i.e., how can you align yourself with that energy? Okay, and quite often, sometimes there'll be an email address listed. If not, again, we then go to social media. Okay, we go to social media to source that email address or to reach out to them. So Madeline Bourne, for example, at Stylist, I know that on her Instagram, she has her email address in her bio. Okay, so we get that information wherever we can. Equally, again, it streamlines the process if you access a database, but we can do it for free if we're only kind of cherry picking a few people to reach out to. So journalists are primarily most active on X, Twitter. I can't not put the Twitter reference in there. It feels weird just calling it X. I'm still not used to it. As well as increasingly on LinkedIn. Okay, so on Twitter, X, you can use that kind of list function to collate and monitor relevant journalists, to kind of see what they're working on, see what they're sharing, see what they're talking about. You can set notifications on key journalists of interest. And ultimately, you can use that bio to often, I would say probably 8 out of 10 cases, a journalist will have their email address in their bio. So it is easily accessible. If they don't, then tweet them. Okay, absolutely tweet them and you know, to say, well, I've got a pitch to send to you around X, Y, and Z. You know, what's the best email address to reach you on? Please do feel free to DM me. Okay. Instagram, however, is not the place for sliding into those DMs. Okay. So Instagram is a little bit more of a personal space for the journalists, but I will 100% advocate you following and connecting, commenting, liking, engaging very naturally on their content. I don't think that's a bad thing to raise a kind of subconscious awareness of your name, your business, etc. Okay, so like and engage and comment to raise that visibility. And as I said, you know, Madeline, for example, had her email address on her Instagram bio, so you will find information there as well. Just kind of referencing the chat. So Joe says a lot of people leaving X and Twitter and moving to Blue Sky. Yes, so I have seen literally just kind of in the last few weeks more journalists skipping onto Blue Sky. I haven't yet had the chance to kind of go on there and try it, but take a look. That may be a place now for them to be sort of starting to congregate and starting to share, you know, conversations and kind of share what they're looking for. So Blue Sky, who knows where it will go and kind of how popular it will be, but that's something I think to keep an ear to the ground on, definitely. So we're starting to build a picture of how the media works. We're starting to suss out potentially a few people that we can approach. And, you know, if we're doing it on this kind of hand researched basis, if you like, then I'm not going to ask you to find 100 journalists to pitch pre-Christmas or at any time of the year. You can build your list slowly. But what I would suggest is that you maybe find 5 to 10 journalists that you can follow, maybe more if you're like on a mission, but just give yourself a starting point, okay? And then again, this puzzle pieces, right? What do we do next? We know who we want to speak to. We kind of know roughly what we're going to pitch or kind of how we're going to pitch it. But what's our vehicle? Okay. Our vehicle is our pitch email. Okay. This is what we want to send to a journalist. And how does that pitch email look? How does it need to break down? So what I've done is I've got a couple of guidelines, if you like, one for product and one for service. Very, very similar, but slight nuances, slight subtlety. And this is kind of broadly speaking. I would always advocate that you really, really personalize these pitch emails. And you can if you are only approaching 5, 10, 15 journalists, okay? You can take your time over it, but the base will still be the same. So what you want to do is you want to introduce yourself and what you're able to offer. Okay, so hi, I'm such and such. This is my business. We produce X, or my area of expertise is X. Okay, and then if you, so let's sit in product. If you want to introduce products for consideration for a gift guide, for example, you might say, hi, I'm the founder of X. We produce Y and Z, and wanted to put some options forward for consideration for any gift guides you're doing, potentially in the under £50 category, for example. Okay, and then you can introduce some highlight pieces. So low res images, what I like to do is I like to do a little banner, just a little Canva where I maybe put kind of 3, 4, 5 low res images in this banner that I then embed in the email so that there's a little bit of visual inspiration. And then I add a link to a Google Drive or similar for a journalist to be able to access high-res cutout images. Okay, and high-res cutouts are what are absolutely essential for gift guides. So if you're a product business wanting to sweep up any gift guide opportunities in the next couple of weeks, cutouts, high-res cutouts is absolutely essential for you. So you want to download a link to download those images and support that visual with a bullet point product list. Okay, so let's say you've highlighted 5 products, just small font, bullet point them. So, why is, this product, price, blah, hyperlink, product link, etc. So you just give that bullet point list of options so that a journalist can find out more if they want, but they've also got the clickable link to view your images and to download whatever they want from there. With the images, and I'll try not to digress too much because I want to carry on cracking through the content, but with your images, whatever you put them in, Dropbox, Google Drive, make them accessible, make them downloadable, and label them. Okay, label them with your product name, with the product price, and your website. Okay, so what happens there is if that image then gets separated from the context, from the email, or it goes into the edit process, it has everything on that label to credit that image properly. Okay, so if you think about a gift guide, you have the images on the page, and then you have the product name, you have the price, and you have the website. Okay, so all that information is directly attached to the file because that's what you've named it as. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. You support with your bullet point product list, and you can say, oh, happy to share samples if required. Please let me know if you need any other information. Please see above the link for high-res images, but please do give me a shout if you need anything else. Okay, your mission is just to be super helpful. Is to say, here's my buffet of gorgeous product. Here are my cherry-picked suggestions for a possible gift guide that you might be working on. If there's anything else, let me know. I really want to help you. Okay, so that's the kind of energy. And then I would always advocate adding in maybe a 1-paragraph bio, like a punchy bio about your brand, your contact information, how can the journalist reach you, and then your sign off. Okay, so let me just dip into some of these points in the chat because they are very relevant to what I've just been talking about. So are press releases still a thing in the PR world? Yes, but they are not essential. So if I'm teaching you the bare bones of PR, an email like this can get you incredible results without the need for a press release. Okay, so press releases have their role to play if you are, maybe it's nice for an event, for example, and you're wanting to give a lot of information, or for a product launch or collaboration, new collection. Again, it's really nice to give that information. So it's nice to have, But I think that in terms of kind of us being snappy in the run up to Christmas, these pitch emails will do a good enough job for you. So WeTransfer, Jordan uses WeTransfer. It's good. It lets you know when the photos get downloaded. It does, absolutely. So WeTransfer, and I don't know, the links used to expire. I don't know if that's still the case. So if it's a little bit more flexible time wise now, then that is great. Also, I would say that you're never going to please everybody with a singular solution. So you're going to have journalists that prefer Dropbox and journalists that prefer Google Drive and journalists that prefer WeTransfer. But what you might find is that there are journalists that don't mind Dropbox or Google Drive, but they aren't quite comfortable with maybe downloading something before they're able to view it, which I think is still the way that WeTransfer works. So it might be that an open link, like a Google Drive folder, could work better, but maybe test it. Maybe send a WeTransfer to 5 people and a Google link to another 5 people and see if the kind of response rate varies. So throw it out there. It kind of depends on personal preference. And Tim says, what is a cutout image? Is it a one with no background? Absolutely, Tim. It is typically a PNG file, which is a kind of transparent background. Essentially, it is just the product kind of floating in the image. And what that means is that journalists are able to overlay, the picture editors are able to overlay these products on the page to create the best visual. Okay, so hopefully that answers those questions. So that's our kind of best practice for a pitch email. Point to consider, and I kind of referenced it when I said, you might be pitching for an under £50 category, for example, but think about what gift guide category your products could fit into. So is it something for mum or dad? Is it something for the grandparents? Is it something for teen girls or teen boys or young boys or, new mums? What recipient could be right for your product? What price point do your products sit in? Is everything under £100? Great, pop that in as a kind of an overall category. Are your products relevant for particular hobbies or interests? Or how can you categorize them to essentially say to a journalist, if you're working on any of these categories, my products could be a great fit. Okay, so just have a little think about that, and we'll touch on that again. There you go, as if by magic. Email subject line. So you want a great pitch email, but also you want a great email subject line that kind of says what is in the email so that the journalist opens it. Now, not everything will be relevant for every journalist when you send it. Okay, so the journalists might be, for one, might not be doing the gift guide. That's fine. They might forward it to whoever is. They might be working on very specific gift guide options that actually we can't fit into with our product pitch. That's fine. But the idea is that if you do hit on the journalist at the right time, and if what you're sending is relevant, the journalist knows it from your email subject line, opens it, isn't disappointed, great, your chances are good. Okay, so typically you want, if it's new, great, that's the selling point. Christmas gift plus product type plus gift segment. Okay, kind of there or thereabouts in that order. Have a bit of freedom and a bit of creativity with it, but essentially you want to get the key information in. Okay, so Christmas gifts, jewelry for teens under £20, vegan Christmas gifts under £20, stocking fillers for boys under £10, new in unique gifts for interiors lovers under £50, unique gifts for the fashion fiend under £100. Okay, so you can see that align that subject line with your pitch, and the journalist will know exactly what they're opening. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. But as I said, a bit of creativity within that, but just get those key points in there. And then best practice, service pitch email. Again, this is the kind of template that can be reworked and reused for different purposes. This is focused for Christmas, but this is flexible. Okay, this is your rinse and repeat framework. So again, introduce yourself, give an overview of your experience and what you can offer to the journalist. So for me, hi, I'm a PR expert. My expertise is working with small businesses and scaling entrepreneurs to get themselves visible. What can I offer to the journalist? Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's not Christmas relevant, but top tips on, increasing visibility, how to select the best option from the PR pick and mix, you get the idea, okay? What can you offer? What value can you add? Value being the key word, okay? Value has to be at the heart of everything. How can you make that journalist job easier? How can you give value to them? How can you give value to their audience? Okay, this is not about how it serves you, although it serves you beautifully to get that press coverage, but what value can you give in exchange for that? Okay, so bullet point your angles and suggestions. So if you are, I don't know, a life coach, you might talk about how to kind of, how to survive the Christmas period, or you might talk about how to manage anxiety through the Christmas period, or, how to deal with family dynamics at Christmas, or anything. And I said, again, I will bring forth that challenge is if you're not sure about what your Christmas angle is, DM me, email me, and we will find it. Okay. So bullet point your angles and suggestions, i.e., these are the topics that I can talk on or share expertise on. But then you make the point that you're not limited to those. So please let me know what you're working on, or if you're planning anything that I could maybe contribute to. I can provide expert comment, I can answer questions. Essentially, I can turn around whatever you need me to turn around, and I can do so swiftly for you. Okay, so I can send anything else as required. I can send quickly. I can, reach me on phone, reach me on email, let me know what you need, and I would love to help, right? Again, friendly. This is your buffet of gorgeousness that you're offering up to the journalist to help them do their job. Okay, punchy as hell, 1 paragraph bio, like real mic drop moments. Okay, drop those names like boom, 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 boom. Why are you brilliant? Why does the world need to know that? Punchy bio, contact information, here's how to reach me, and just sign off. Okay, so again, a very simple, usable framework. But then also we need to think about the subject line again. Okay, this one's slightly different, but again, the principle is the same. Get that key information in there so that the journalist knows whether it's relevant for them or not. If it is, they'll open it again. They won't be disappointed. Great, you've increased your chances. Okay, so typically, loosely, be creative, expert plus pitch topic plus seasonal reference. So mental health expert, how to cope with anxiety at Christmas. Life coach, 5 tips for a mindful Christmas. From festive stress to Christmas zen, self-care tips for a calmer Christmas. Christmas foodie expert, recipes, hosting, gifting, etc. All things Christmas and entertaining for 2024. That one's a bit long, we can condense that. But the principle is the same, okay? You know what you're getting with each of those emails. How can you, boom, 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 sum up what you're offering in that pitch email, okay? And as I said, this is rinse and repeat, okay? We use these in other spaces for other purposes. And actually, there was a question earlier about if magazines and newspapers aren't a vibe. That's fine. These kind of emails will open the door to guesting on podcasts or to speaking at events. Anything that you want to create in terms of visibility, that is a really, really beautiful framework to be using. Okay, so reactive, that's your proactive. Let's look at reactive. So here are some pointers when it comes to being reactive, again, in the run up to Christmas, but also beyond. All right, so let's just introduce quickly the concept of media alerts. Media alerts are real-time opportunities from journalists and others in the media industry. So the journalists, producers, researchers, etc., share what they're looking for via a number of platforms. Okay, so if they're looking for comment or expertise or product or input to support or finish a feature or an article, then they're going to put out a media alert. Okay, I'm looking for small businesses to comment on the latest budget and how it's going to impact them. Okay, or I'm looking for gifts from independent brands located in Yorkshire, or I'm looking for gifts for teens under £15, stocking fillers. Okay, they will share what they're looking for. And as I said, they'll come from journalists, stylists, researchers, producers. They'll cover print, online, merchandise opportunities, gifting opportunities, all sorts. Okay, so where are these alerts coming? How do we access them? So hashtag journo request on X, Twitter, occasionally also on LinkedIn and Instagram, much less frequently than X, but also potentially on Blue Sky as well. So that's all free. Okay, whatever platform you access that hashtag on, it's all free. Okay, and that's a great one. So X and potentially, as we were saying, Blue Sky are very immediate platforms. So it's great for journalists to put this request out there and get that information back in response. Okay, so you can put yourself into contention for opportunities there. Paid for media alerts, Press Loft, Response Source, Press Plugs, Editorial, etc. There are various platforms that you might give a go. And there are a couple of Facebook groups as well. Feature Me might be free, Lightbulb PR is paid, I think it's about £5 a month, where journalists will share what they're looking for. Okay, so these spaces, this kind of process has been democratized by social media and by this kind of process of media alerts. So yes, we can balance, we can be proactive, and I've given you the toolkit to do that, but also you can be reactive to what the journalist is looking for at any given point, okay, by tapping into these resources. So when it comes to responding to a media alert, sounds simple, really read the alert, okay? Absolutely read it properly, understand it. Do you have what the request is asking for? Are you familiar with the magazine or outlet? Does it feel aligned to you? Does it feel a fit for you? Can you deliver what that journalist is asking for? Okay, then you want a fresh email, a fresh approach in direct alignment with that request. So nothing forwarded from previous trails, like no trail of like previous emails, like no, kind of simple, clean, fresh approach, clear subject line, literally just RE media alert requesting X, Y, and Z. Okay, so that that journalist knows that you are responding to something that they have asked for, and be mindful of deadlines. Journalists will say when they need things by. If you cannot deliver by that date, don't put yourself in contention. Okay, you have to be able to deliver and you have to respond to them before that date. If that date has passed, then it's fine. Put that journalist on your list for a proactive approach further down the line. Okay, but don't be responding to them about that alert. In terms then of responding, let the alert dictate the response. So let the journalist might give you direction. They might say low resolution images in the first instance. I'll let you know if I want high res, or let me know your expertise and I will then share questions. Okay, so let the journalist guide you. If no guidelines are given, then default to the bones of your proactive pictures. That's a great default to go to anyway, okay? And then you tailor what you're suggesting for that specific opportunity, all right? So go with whatever is kind of guiding you. And then, oh, I keep looking at the time. It's all good. Let me just click there. So how do we approach PR at the early stage of our business? I might come back to that in the questions. How does approaching stylists differ from approaching journalists? It doesn't really. If you are a fashion brand, for example, wanting to place on celebrities, influencers, etc., that are working with stylists, then introduce your brand with a taster of the products. If you've got a lookbook, great. If not, then just web links and just say to the stylist, look, I'm really open to collaborating, would love to connect with you, look at how I can work with your clients, how I can support you. And, again, it's all about the value, and just start the conversation. Okay, so you can use that framework. Is it good to recycle PR on a monthly, yearly basis, etc., if appropriate? I will always advocate refreshing your approach and sending again. Okay, so if you are going to refresh, if you think actually something is still very timely or very relevant, but I've not heard back from that journalist, can you change up the email subject line, maybe change up the email slightly and go again? Equally, same time next year, again, refresh it, update it, go again. Okay, no harm in that at all. So keynotes to keep in mind: stay organized. If you are making approaches, whether it's proactive or reactive, just keep a little spreadsheet. Who are you pitching to? Name, title, what has been sent, what is the outcome? Anything that you need to itemize and document to keep on top of these conversations that you're having, do it. Okay, whether it's whatever format it takes, the spreadsheet is fine. As I said, only respond if you can deliver everything that a journalist is asking for or might need. Okay, so on reactive, there's no point saying yes, I can do this if actually you've not got your high res images and they're going to take 2 weeks to come through. Doesn't work. Okay, equally, there's no point in you being proactive if you haven't got your high res images, or if you're not able to find the time to put that comment together that the journalist might then ask for in response. Okay, so just know that you're ready to deliver what the journalist might need. Save key pitches in documents so that you're not writing a pitch from scratch. Okay, so I am obsessed with Google Documents. I have like multiple different versions of pitches, and I will always encourage clients to do the same, so that actually it's like, oh, okay, this opportunity has come through. Yeah, I've responded to something similar. Let me copy and paste that in and personalize it. Jobs are good. And I hate starting from a blank page. I don't advocate that you write every email from scratch either. Okay, so be savvy with what you've got, but always tailor your pitch content. Okay, so always personalize it. And then last slide, a few things to remember. It's tough, but it's true. No one owes you anything. Okay, so we cannot be expecting results from an email. If they come, great, but no one owes us anything. No one owes us space in their magazine. We've got to prove that we deserve it. We've got to offer the value that opens the door. Okay, we want to be efficient and helpful. Remember that little buffet of goodness that we want to serve up. We want to offer the journalist anything that they might need. How can we help? Let us know. Okay. Don't send high-res images as attachments unless you are asked to. Okay, so this is where it comes into play. If a media alert has come through and the journalist has said, please send high-res images. Great, okay, jump on it. But ordinarily, no. Okay, that's not the first port of call. And probably, well, maybe not most importantly, but it is important to keep in mind, please don't become despondent if you don't get a response. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean everyone hates you. It doesn't mean this is never going to work. It's fine. It's a timing thing. Okay, maybe the email subject line wasn't strong enough and the journalist didn't open it. Maybe it's that actually the content wasn't quite right for them at that stage. That's fine. Maybe actually they've passed it on to someone else. Maybe they're keeping you on file. It is not the end of the world. Every single email you send is you're trying to open a door. Okay, you're trying to create an opportunity. You send 10 emails, you get one opportunity. Amazing. Let's go. Let's send 10 more. Let's hope for another opportunity. Okay, so don't become despondent if you don't get a response. I think these are what anything that you do in terms of outreach is positive, is moving you forward, is potentially opening doors for you, which will bring results for you. So it is all absolutely worthwhile. So Christopher says a lot of journalists will assist you if you spend money on advertising with their paper or magazine. Absolutely. And that is for sure a route to go down. And what you might find particularly in regional is that the magazine might give you, you know, potentially a page or two of editorial, but they will also perhaps encourage you to take out an advert to support that editorial. Typically, you know, it comes down to personal preference and it comes down to budget. I mean, I will always advocate that there is plenty of space in a magazine or in a paper without having to pay for anything, but then it's a personal choice should you wish to supplement that with an advert with a more promotional piece. So absolutely, it can kind of work in tandem, but anything that I have suggested you pitching for in this session, I am pitching on the basis that these opportunities won't cost you anything. Okay, this space in the magazine won't cost you anything. So you're not having to pay to secure these results. If you wanted to pay, that would be an optional extra. So low res images, more like proof to show an example of what you might be able to include. Yeah, high res images, absolutely, that's the distinction, Jordan. Thank you for sharing. So low res, small images, small files that just demonstrate what you have to offer, demonstrate a taster of your range. The high resolution images, the strong files, the bigger files are what will then be published. So a journalist won't be able to use your low res images, but they'll be able to say, right, I need that in high res, or they'll download the high res from your Google Drive or your WeTransfer or whatever it might be. Okay, so there we go, five minutes to spare. Could have been worse. So questions.
Hi, Fiona. Thank you so much. You've done an excellent job of going through so many questions that have come up in the chat as you go. So thank you for that. We have got some more that have come in, so I'll race through those because I know we haven't got much time. First question is, how do I find the relevant magazines for a building luxury garden room business?
Oh, I like it. So have just pop into Smiths or newsagents or whatever, have a look at that home and interiors shelf, the kind of world of interiors, LDEC, you know, Bridge for Design, that kind of vibe. look at those price points, just get familiar with those spaces. Also, there's websites like Newsstand, which is like an online news agent, so you can search by category, have a little look for some starting points, and also ask your audience is, what are they reading, or ask peers, ask people that you respect, that you feel like are quite aligned with you and your business, and just kind of give yourself some starting points that way.
Thank you. Next question. I sent my most recent book to a few key figures that are relevant. Should I follow up with them on email? I know that the books have arrived at the addresses, but not necessarily that the person has seen it.
Absolutely, follow up on email. And you don't have to be like, I know you've signed for my book, have you read it yet? But like, just hope it's reached you safely. You're just reminding them that they are expecting it as well. So I hope it's reached you safely. Would love to hear any thoughts. Please let me know if there's anything else I can send in support, or blah, right? Just friendly, helpful.
Amazing. Where would we find journalists' contact emails? Is there a preferred way to find them with an interest in a particular area? For example, vegan products or household?
So if you are accessing a database like Cision or Response Source, then you'll be able to search by category, by journalist interest, by focus, etc. So you'll be able to curate a mailing list of relevant journalists for you. That comes with a price tag, and if you're happy to spend that, amazing, great. If not, is pull out a few magazines that speak to your audience on that kind of vegan lifestyle angle, perhaps. Then use those magazines as your starting point to pull out those journalist names. Okay.
What is your opinion on small local magazines, usually delivered or available locally for free? If you have a local service-based business, would this be worth exploring?
I think anything is worth exploring. Okay, absolutely anything is worth entertaining and worth exploring to a degree. So quite often those kind of pamphlets will rely on advertising. So you might be looking to take an ad or an advertorial that looks like a feature or a guest article in something like that, but start the conversation. Can you then supplement it with some online coverage with another magazine, or with another platform in the local area? Can you work in collaboration with another business, or can you explore networking as well? So I think look at kind of all of these things kind of grouped together to tap into a number of different avenues. But yeah, you might be looking to place an advertorial and to pay for that kind of coverage in the small pamphlet magazines.
For high resolution images, what device would you recommend we use? Would a mobile phone be too low resolution?
So I would say if you get your images photographed by a photographer, they will always be high resolution. If you are able to take something of good quality on a camera, great. If you know what you're doing. iPhone I would steer away from. That said, if you do get images from a photographer and they're not cut out, will your photographer do them for you? If not, run them through Canva or something. There's various tools that you can do online that will just remove the background to give you that transparent PNG file that will make for a great cutout. Okay, so there's a few starting points. I would advocate though that wherever possible, photography is an investment for each collection, whether you do the whole collection or whether you do 5-10 top products, for example.
Another question about photos. For me, blogs and podcasts are on my list to do, as I think they'll be better fit for myself at the moment. Is it better to use your own pictures, and what can you do to protect your own copyright?
Okay, so this is tricky. So if you're guesting on podcasts, what was the podcasts and what was the other avenue that
Blogs. So I'm
blogs?
guessing. Right.
Okay, so if you are submitting your photos for blogs as sort of in alignment with an interview or the guest blog post, then obviously those photos are your copyright. So you can ask for them to be alt tagged and labeled as such. If you are guesting on a podcast, then probably all that podcast host is going to need, or producer is going to need from you, will be a headshot. In which case, that's your image, that's your copyright. I wouldn't be too worried about then things going further. I think we get into another issue that I'm probably not best placed to dive into too specifically, but I think my kind of guidance is don't fall into a trap of overthinking that then kind of holds you back because you're not sure what kind of comes next. If we've not got to step 1, we don't know what step 10 is going to look like. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, absolutely. Someone's just popped in the chat there as well. Usually put a watermark on my photos to help protect my pictures. I think that's a really good way, a simple way to kind of at least feel like you've got some kind of protection there, isn't it? So that is
Yes, yeah, definitely. As long as it's not a kind of, blog won't use anything that is too
like big across
overtly,
the page.
watermarked. Yeah. But you can
Absolutely.
put your little copyright or kind of watermark in the corner, perhaps.
Fab. I'm so sorry we've not managed to get to all the questions, but we have run out of time. I'm sure that Fiona would be more than happy to answer anything else. She's got her details are on the screen there, so take a quick photo of those and do get in touch. There've been a few questions about the recording. It will be sent out to you on email Friday or Saturday, and you can also watch it on our Small Business Saturday Facebook page. But if you have any issues finding it, do just send us an email, and we will put you in the right direction. Thank you, Fiona, for such a wonderful session. Do you have any final words of wisdom before we go?
I think it's really just to give it a go. Please don't overthink it. Just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? I did just see a question about a book PR launch. Use whatever it is, use these frameworks and give it a go.
Fabulous. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining, and we hope to see you again very soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.